देश में लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट कम करने के लिए इस बजट में यूनिफाइड लॉजिस्टिक इंटरफेस प्लेटफॉर्म यूलिप बनाने का प्रावधान किया गया है.
To my mind, firstly, we need to work out a proposal for financial model to make ULIP self-sustainable, as we have done in the case of logistic data bank. So this model has to be self-sustainable by engaging with the private sectors with nominal transactional fee against the data shared.
The data layer that we have as part of the ULIP architecture, the second layer, which is there to define and provide the kind of assurances which the private sector would require to share data. And on this, I think we need to be working in coordination with the private sector.
I'll just give you a background about its inception, which CEO sir has already covered. Niti Aayog has given us this mandate to develop a technology-based platform which can integrate the technologies and the systems being used by different ministries, because different ministry softwares and the systems were working in isolation. There was no bonding, or there was no correlation between each of the system. So the ULIP conceptualization has happened in June 2020, and the presentation was given to the Hon'ble PM in August 2020. After that, under the chairmanship of CEO Niti Aayog sir, there was a meeting whereby NICDC was mandated to undertake the work relating to the ULIP. And this was the outcome, that whatever data has already been collected as part of the logistic data bank platform, that has to be further leveraged to develop ULIP, and different systems of different ministries, different ports, and different stakeholders has to be embedded to each other, so that through an API, so that every system can talk to one another. In the Union Budget of 2022, Honorable Finance Minister has mentioned about the ULIP. She has stated that all mode of operator will be brought under one interface through the API, which will ensure effective movement of goods, reducing the cost of logistics and save time. This will also help in just-in-time inventory management and will provide real-time information and improve the global competitiveness of Indian products. And it will be based on the open source technology stack. In terms of phasing strategy, we have divided the ULIP platform into two phases. The first is the logistic gateway, and second is the multimodal coverage. So the phase one is already done and over. The testing, the production things have already been tested with over 20,000 plus transactions. The phase two of the ULIP is to promote the single documentation system irrespective of the mode of transport, and to invite more and more private sector participation to leverage this humongous amount of the data which we are collecting, and to leverage onto this platform, which is acting as a gateway for the logistics sector. In terms of architecture, on the top, you see that these are different systems of various ministries which are operating. So ULIP is going to act as a middle layer between the systems of the different ministries, which will provide information to the data users at the end, which can either be the government agencies, the startup communities, the 3PL, 4PL players, the CHAs, the ports, the manufacturing companies, the transporters, the warehousing companies, etc. So the entire system is based on a request response based mechanism, whereby any response for the end user, ULIP is going to act as a true single window. So the request will come from the data user to the ULIP platform, and at the back end, ULIP platform will divide that information into different verticals and different ministries, and get a response, and immediately will authenticate the transaction to the end user. In terms of the ecosystem, ULIP has been divided into three different stages. The first stage is the integration layer, the second stage is the governance layer, and the third is the presentation layer. The first two stages, the government is taking the ownership of it, which is the integration layer, which is already done. The governance layer, where the entire system is being developed as a UPI-based platform, and the presentation layer, where a lot of private sector participation will be invited and is being invited for developing apps and to leverage the governance and the integration layer. In terms of work done, this is already covered by Secretary Shipping, but just to recap, all the things which have been mentioned as part of the green boxes, that these systems are already integrated with the ULIP system. The APIs have been developed, the testing has been done, it's ready for the live production. And the systems under yellow, they are under development by Ministry of Port Shipping and the Indian Port Association. Once these systems are completed, the ULIP will get integrated from day one. The only thing which is right now under discussion is the e-waybill and the GSTN network. In terms of the magnitude and the quantum of the work which has been done in the past 1 year, roughly 24 systems of 6 different ministries has been integrated through the development of API. This covers nearly 54 fields, and 78 APIs have been developed to have a real-time transaction and the authentication on the ULIP platform. Just to give you an example, the customs ice gate system, 10 systems have been captured at the custom, which has already been integrated. The fields which we have requested to the custom but not yet integrated because they are under the development stage are 9, and the fields which are not being captured by the customs is 14, and fields which do not exist in the custom systems is 2. So this is how we break up every single department and every single system which has been done, which is yet to be done, and which will be taken up in the future. In terms of data governance, this is very important because often these questions are being asked. We don't store the data. ULIP does not store the data. It is a completely request response based system. The data remains the property of the concerned ministry, the concerned system. It is only the information which we request to that portal, and that portal gives us the information in form of a response. That's why it's a request response based system. No personal identified information is being shared. So anything which the respective system, the rules of the respective ministry, the rules of the department prevails, and no personalized information, which is called PII, is not being shared with end user. Development of the node guidelines of the METI, the entire guidelines of the METI has been followed while developing from a security and a safety perspective, shared through the secured method as defined by the concerned ministry. So in fact, we have gone ahead and signed the non-disclosure agreements with the respective ministries before integrating and developing the APIs. In terms of timeline, as sir has mentioned, till November, we have completed the entire integration process. Thereafter, we have just transferred energies for the develop the use cases. 5 use cases have already been developed in-house. And in the month of Jan, February, March, we are inviting more and more private sector participation by organizing ULIP Hackathon under the aegis of NITI Aayog and Atal Innovation Mission. And probably by April 22, we are in a position to go live. In terms of use cases, I would like to divide it into 3 major categories. The first is from bottom up we will go. The first is the in-house supporting apps, which we have developed in-house for demonstrating the presentation layer of the ULIP, how to leverage the governance and the integration layer. These 5 apps, Know Your Transport, Track Your Transport, LDB 2.0, Empty Container Carrier Discovery, and Empty Container Discovery. These 5 apps have been developed in-house. Second stage of inviting more and more suggestions and ideations is by way of logistics hackathon. And we have received tremendous response, more than 500 entries, and that is under the phase of evaluation. Once it is evaluated, we are hopeful that we will be getting a lot of good ideas from the startup fraternity. And the third stage will be to invite more private sector participation to develop the apps and to develop the presentation layer, so that this whole data and whole integration can be leveraged for the benefit of the trade and the industry.